for the net sale, we have the projected variance, which is 100%, and then we get the actual variance, which is negative 44.18%, which is bad in the business. Why it is bad? Because if you get a negative percentage of your projected budget, it is bad because you didn't get your target. So for the proposed action plan, of course, basically, you need to improve your business advertising and control the expenses of the business in order to get more net sales. And then, one of the ways to improve your net sale is to communicate with your team or to your customers, and then increase your incentives. And then, it is important to get along with your customers to get more net sales and more revenue.
In food, the projected variance is 35%. Then the actual variance, we have 39.14%, which lead us having 4.18% total variance. Because of that, the interpretation of this is bad. And our projected action plan are by tracking, managing the inventory to ensure food cost control, and also by the exact amount of ingredients that are only needed to avoid spoilage. In beverage, we have the projected variance of 5%, then the actual variance, we also have 5%, which lead us having 0% total variance. Because of that, the interpretation of this is bad. Although we were able to use the allotted amount, we should save at least 1% so that we will have backup in case that we really need it. So for the proposed action plan, we can buy bulks to get discounts and reduce beverage expense in buying stocks, because we should only buy the amount of products that we know that we will consume immediately to avoid spoilage.
The labor expense, having the projected 15% and actual of 18.24% with a total of 3.24%. The interpretation, having the total of 3.24%, which is positive, as the expense is increasing, it means that we are having a bad interpretation. Proposed action plan combines sick leave and vacation in one-time pay to reduce labor costs. Operation expense, having 3% in projected and 5.05% in actual with a total of 2.05%. The interpretation, as I repeat, having the total of a positive answer, it means that the expenses is still increasing, so the interpretation is still bad. Proposed action plan, cancel unused services or materials that doesn't necessary anymore to buy new things for the maintenance.
For the supplies, the projected variance is 2% and the actual is 2.91% with a total of 0.91%. And it has a bad performance in interpretation because it came out as a positive number, which means that the actual sales are ahead of the budget. So for the proposed action plan, they have to cancel the unused services or materials that does not necessary anymore to control expenses in buying new things for maintenance. For the spoilage, the projected variance is 1% and the actual is 1.41% with a total of 0.41% of variance. And it also has a bad performance because, like the other line items, it came out as a positive variance, which means that the actual exceeds the planned or budgeted value. So for the proposed action plan, they have to control the portions of food to reduce waste and spoilage.
The rent financial outcomes. Rent expenses with a variance of 3.4% versus on the actual of 6%. Sad to say, the outcome of rent is not good, and in order to address this matter, pay the rent early on time to reduce additional payment for the rent. The tax expense. As the result disclosed in the tax being presented by the financial outcome, the tax have no problem because it is a fixed price by the government. And for the proposed action plan, pay the tax on time to reduce the additional fees.
So for the profit, we have the projected variance, which is 23.66%, and then we have the actual of 10%, and then we get the total of negative 13.66%, which is bad. Because again, it is profit. We are talking about the increase of the percentage of the variance, not the decrease. So, for the proposed action plan for this, applying all the recommendations in reducing expenses to increase profit and sale. It is important to know or to have an alternative solutions for you to increase your profit. And then you can you can find new customers. Of course, it is easy to find new customers by making way of a new advertisement for the business or for the company. You should reduce the unprofitable products and services for you to control your expenses.